Hey guys, I saw something today on YouTube that reminded me of a pretty big issue I had. Now, I don't think I talked about this on YouTube. I might have talked about it on my TikTok account. I know I talked about it on my Facebook, but I don't think I covered it here. And that is, you guys need to be very, very careful when you're out and about by yourselves, off in the boonies, as it were. So myself and my buddy Cole, none of you guys, I don't think, would have met him, except for maybe Bellaboo. But we were on the deer hunt last year. Now, a little bit of background. Depending on who you talk to, either you can have a handgun with you or you can't. We were hunting muzzleloaders, so we didn't have high-powered rifles with us. We had to load and unload every day. But that's besides the point. If you have a concealed carry permit, you were allowed to have a firearm with you. Now, I actually have my concealed carry permit. I went through the classes. I am licensed. I have my license, I guess is the proper term. I'm insured as well. It's something I take very seriously. However, I didn't want to have my carry gun banging around with us while we're riding four-wheelers and side-by-sides on all these trails. But also in Utah, unless land is explicitly stated private, and there's no reason to assume that it's private, then it's public. That's the best I can explain it. Pretty much what it is there's public land that's leased out, and you can still hunt it in the state of Utah. And where we were hunting was a huge quilt of this is public, this is private, this is technically public, but it's under lease for this. The important thing to know is that if you don't know it's private, and I'm not excusing trespassing here, this is something you have to understand. If you don't know it's private, and it's not marked, and there is no reasonable way to assume that it's private, you're allowed onto that property. Now, being marked can be yellow fence posts, tires on the fences. People will paint rocks orange or pink, which I get the orange. I have no clue where pink came from. And they'll put them on fence posts. Now, legally, you have to have private property marked at the corners. If you don't, then it just is publicly available, if that makes sense here. Long story long, we were, what's it called? Corner jumping our way, public, like we are not touching, are you kidding me, dude? We are not touching a square of private land that we don't actually have permission to be on. Now, my buddy Cole got permission years ago to actually camp where we were camping, and for the longest time he was told it was private. We actually found out while we were up there, it is being leased to those people, but it is public land. They couldn't really stop us. There's a whole ton of legality I'm not going to get into, because I only have 5 more minutes of video before I'm out of storage. We found an area where Cole frequented, and he always got deer there. We went there. There's a brand new fence, a brand new gate. None of it is marked. It does not have any indicators. There's a public patch next to it, and then there's this patch, very obviously fenced off from each other. So, okay, all of our maps, including OnX, which if you guys want to sponsor me, woo-woo! OnX even said that this piece of land is public. Where we were standing was technically private, but it was an access road and it wasn't fenced off. But the land that we were going on, so at the moment where we were standing was public, but we took a private road to get to it. Where we were going was public. We take down the gate, and it's a brand new fence, really tight wiring. So I'm sitting struggling. I get this gate off, and mind you, there's nobody else on the mountain. We get this gate off, and literally the moment the post hits the floor, this truck rounds the bend, flying at us. I mean, like, I was like, Cole, get off the road. This fucker's going to hit us. Pardon my French. I've been trying not to swear, but long story short, he stops feet away from Cole's four-wheeler. He just immediately starts freaking out at us, cussing us out, threatening us, not so subtly, by the way, saying that this was private ground. Neither of us had our handguns on us. This guy kept putting his hand down into the center console area, and it was one of those things like, if he pulls something, there's nothing we can do. Like, at best, one of us could try and jump through the window at him. That is it. And we're trying to be respectful. We're like, well, this is public ground. We've been, Cole's been coming here for years. He knows the guy who owns the land next to it. This is public ground that we are on this very moment. He was freaking out. He, like I said, he threatened us, not so subtly. He straight up told us a little story about when he got stuck off in the mountains. Some guys rode up on guns, and if they wanted to, he'd be underground by now. And did we really want that to happen to us? We had every right to be there. I will maintain that until the day I die, that we had every right to be there, unless he buys that land next year and fences it off properly. And again, I'm not excusing trespassing. Knowingly trespassing is a crime. The rules of Utah are a little bit different, where if it's not marked properly, you can go on and it's not trespassing. Is that still a dick move? Yes, it is. A lot of these areas, though, they've got fences around public land and their land together, so you can cross from public to private without ever crossing a boundary line, which you're supposed to be able to see. Long story long, guys. I've been rambling for way too long. I'll probably speed up the video a little bit. Tell me if it is annoying to you. Please be careful. Bushcraft, camping, hunting, an emergency situation where you bug out to the woods. There are people who will get pissed because you're near them. This man did not own land. We finally gleaned that he was like a friend of the guy who actually owned it. I'm using that term loosely here. He did not own this land. Realistically, he had no authority to kick us off of this land. And yet, if he wanted to, he very easily could have deleted both of us and claimed it was self-defense, or even just not reported it at all. I'll tell you, from that moment on, that was pretty early on in the hunt. From that moment on, I actually kept one of my handguns on me at all times, or within arm's reach. It was a scary situation. And this is when I was with someone who I trusted could hold his own in a fight. So, anyways, if you have any questions or want me to elaborate, go ahead, leave a comment down below. I am literally right at the end of how much space I have to record, and I'll see you next time.